topic is becoming a developed and civilized personality. It's in the line of nation building and telling us that no nation can be built without people. And the kind of nations we have testifies, symbolizes the kind of people in the nation, right? If you have a larger amount of developed and civilized people in a community, in a nation, then we get a developed and civilized nation. Yeah. If a lesser percentage of people are undeveloped, uncivilized, then we get an undeveloped and uncivilized nation. So it's, sometimes when you tell people that, like, the third world countries are underdeveloped and they are not civilized, some developed and civilized people, they get offended, which say that Nigeria is a bad country or Nigeria is not this. Some people get annoyed, yeah. So when you say a country is not developed or it's not civilized, it doesn't mean there is nobody, yeah, there is nobody, that is developed or there is nobody that is civilized. No, it just means that you have a lesser percentage of developed and civilized people, that the uncivilized, the undeveloped overrun the civilized people, yeah. And a developed person understands that. Yeah, understand that, yeah, maybe you are developed, maybe you are civilized, but the number is still small and there is still a lot of work to do. Okay, let's define not civilization, but let's define what it is to be civilized. Yeah. So a civilized person is polite. A civilized person is polite, reasonable. Reasonable comes from the ability to think, not just to think. I believe everybody thinks, but reasonable comes from thinking well, weighing all the pros and cons, and coming out with a good thought and a better decision in the situation you are. So reasonable, able to reason. A civilized person is respectful. Remember, we are talking about ourselves, but still having the nation in the background, right? Still having the nation in the background. So we want a polite nation. We want a reasonable nation. We want a respectful nation, where it starts from us, right? So a civilized person is a polite, reasonable, respectful, and courteous person, well-mannered, well-behaved. A civilized group of people is characterized by being socially and technologically advanced. Yeah. Advanced. Moving forward, comfortable, having a highly developed society and culture. Every nation, they have a society. Like, let's say, I'm not a Nigerian specialist. I'm not Nigeria history, Nigeria politics is not my best side, right? Yeah, but in Nigeria we have land, we have space, we have society, we have people, and we have culture. And almost every nation, almost every group of people, they have that. But being civilized is having a developed society. We know that we have land, we know that we have space, but it hasn't been developed. We know that we have culture, we have our culture, but unfortunately, it hasn't been highly developed. It's to some extent raw. We have it. Everybody, we have it. It's not that we don't have it. We have it. But it hasn't been worked on. The price has not been paid. Because when we are talking about development, when we are talking about civilization, these things, they don't happen automatically. You know, the price has to be paid. The price of time, the price of hard work, the price of faith. And I'm not talking about faith in God in this, just believing patriotism, you know, just believing that it can work, it is possible, and things like that. Yeah. Also, being civilized means showing evidence of moral and intellectual advancement. Showing evidence of moral and intellectual advancement. And when I think it was Brother Chris that was talking about that there are some unbelievers that have good principles. They live by good principles. Yeah, because one thing I've noticed in life is that everything in us is in one system. Yeah, we have different areas, and hopefully we'll get there today. We have different areas, different sphere of life, but they are all in one system. So if somebody starts developing himself in one area, it will affect the other area. Even if it, let's say, intellectually development, right? Having to go to school, that area, although you are going there for academics, yeah, but it will also affect you morally to some extent. Yeah. Just it will give you some ethics, it will give you some moral, you know, some emotional intelligence, you know, some moral intelligence, because it is all in one system. Because I, that I'm going to the school for academics, you know, I still relate to people, right? I still have other area, and it is me. And if all these things are not in agreement, at least to some extent, it will create such a confusion in me that I won't be able to be the best person I should be. So we live in one system. So if somebody starts developing himself socially, you will understand, you will notice that also spiritually, the person will be developing. No, yeah, not a Christian. Yeah, not a Christian, but they will start, because all these things are connected. And that is why even sometimes you see it in the words lexicon, they call like social things spiritual, you know, because all these things are connected. And when you start learning about social intelligence, you find out that you are also treating emotion. You are getting better in your emotions. All these things are connected because they are all from God. They are all from God. So development and civilization, they are also interconnected. So showing evidence of moral and intellectual advancement. Also, another definition for being civilized here is marked by refinement in taste and manners. Just like I said, you know, refinement, work done, make better, a better version in taste, a better version in manner, being cultured. Also, another definition is this: marked by well-organized law and rules about how people behave with each other. I think the last, I might be wrong, but I'm sure somebody will help me out. I think the last HMT was about law and order. Yeah, about law and order. So it's still in the line of being developed. A developed person, a civilized person, will be more willing, you know, to obey the law than an undeveloped and uncivilized person. You know, an undeveloped person, an uncivilized, oh, what are this all about? You know, because the undeveloped person is just raw. He wants to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. He doesn't put people into consideration. It's all about him. It's my life. I don't care. Yeah, but a developed person, a civilized person, he understands that he's not alone on this earth, that he needs other people, that it takes more than one person to create a good environment. So he loves the law. He wants to obey the rules because he gains from obeying the rules. He gets more peace, he gets more security from obeying the rules, and it's only through law and order that we can create a safe environment, that we can create a developed environment, and that we can create a civilized environment. So, and of course today, now in my session, I'm emphasizing on the importance of this starting with me, right? This starting with us. A civilized society responds to crime with fairness and justice. Yeah. A civilized society responds to crime with fairness and justice. Yeah. Fairness and justice, even in law, even in criminology, is very important. And the last definition I have here is showing concern for what is correct according to social rules. Showing concern for what is correct according to social rules. I can't remember if it was also during the last HMT or it was just in one of Pastor Sunday's program where he was commenting on the way crimes are handled in Nigeria. He uses Nigeria as a study case a lot. Yeah, the way crimes are handled for example, in Nigeria, is either crimes are not responded to, in the sense that some people involved in corruption can get by with it, right? So on one hand, justice is not being pursued, whereas on the other hand, a person caught on the street, trying to steal a plantain or trying to steal an orange. It's just like the parable of the unforgiving servants, This man had a debt, the king forgave him, and it was a big debt, right? And coming out of that, he saw his friend that owed him just, a penny. Yeah, so I think it's just like the same situation because in my understanding, we have people, who are embezzling, who are, who are in big corruption schemes, and they go by with it. And then you find somebody trying to steal 500 naira, $1, $2, and then you just set him ablaze. So, no fairness in crime. And this is just because we are undeveloped. This is just because we are unable to separate the crime from the offender. And this is because we are late to see God's image and God's kindness in people. It is the sin, it is the bad stuff that we see first. Our sight, our vision, they don't go deeper. They don't see the bottom. They just see the surface, they just see the periphery, and we treat people with that. Okay, so we are going to stop again. We are going to interact. So from the definition, all these definitions are on the internet, by the way. Yeah. So from the definition of being civilized, so what came to your mind when we're talking about this being civilized? What picture? Maybe you remembered something in your setting. Oh, good. The mic is here. You mind coming in?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
While you were talking, I just remembered the situation of when I just got to Canada, and I if time you enter the bus, and when people are trying to leave the bus, the driver is in front, the person is at the back, and he's saying thank you. I was like, thank you to who? You know, this driver is getting a salary. His job is to drive me. I've paid my bus fare. So, and sometimes the driver doesn't even answer them, but they won't stop. They just keep saying thank you. The person is coming down at the back. He will look at the front. Thank you. I'll look at the driver. He doesn't even look at him, and he will go out. The next person saw that the driver didn't answer. He will say thank you again. I was like, what's going on? I couldn't understand it because the guy is doing his job. So why am I supposed to thank you? You are supposed to thank me. At least my paying my money pays your salary, you know. So, but I'm beginning to realize that thank you for at least taking me to my destination safely. Thank you for at least doing your job properly. Thank you for taking us from one location to another location, and you did not throw us in the gutter. You know, thank you for doing your job properly.
Doing your part.
Doing your part. So, those are concepts, maybe because I grew all my life in Nigeria, but those are concepts that we don't understand, you know. They're kind of more aggressive. Do your job and get out of the way. I do my job and leave. Or I don't even want to do my job. You must induce me to do my job. You have to give me something. So I am beginning to learn. I'm beginning to get purged of some of those uncivilized way of thinking. They are getting out of me, you know. It's kind of difficult to say it openly, but it's amazing. And apart from that, I'm learning the way people are cautious. You open the door, you are going out of a place, and you open the door. You know, and when you open the door, you have to wait for the other person to pass. And while the person is passing, you want to close the door, somebody else passes again. So you are just there, and you are looking at...
Like a janitor.
Yeah, you're waiting, and you're passing. And I observe people do it. And each person that passes, you give the person a smile. I have the door open, but I have to smile to you, you know? You know, so... But I'm learning. I'm learning. It's a way of life. It's a culture. From back home, we don't do that. You open the door and you are off. Anybody that wants to pass through the door has hands to open the door.
Even if it's an elderly person, a lady, it doesn't matter. You know, undevelopment and uncivilization focuses on you. It's me. Me. After me, let there be a flood, right? Yeah, but it's me. Whereas being developed and civilized brings the awareness that you are not alone. Well, I have to ask you for forgiveness. Why? Because I will ask you to read this. Can you read this?
From the beginning?
Yeah, from here to here. It's
Definition of civilized. Okay. A civilized person is polite, reasonable, respectful, and cautious. He knows how to say please and thank you.
You know, I had that in the definition, but I was not really embarrassed, and I was thinking, will I be telling you that a civilized person knows how to say please and thank you? You know, I just saw that too basic, that please and thank you. What does it's like, it comes just on its own. But I must really thank you, you know, for contributing. And I didn't even know that, it's as bad like that. I didn't know. Yeah, because please, you are saying please and thank you, not to that person. You need it yourself. It's for you. It's part of your development. It's part of, you know, when you thank other people, that is when you how do I say it? You know, the Bible says it's more blessed to give. Why? Because when you are giving, you have an emotion of a joy, positive emotion comes to you. And you feel it more. You know, like Nigeria, I'm so sorry that we're using Nigeria a lot. Some people already, like, Pardon me? You are going to use the French. Okay. Yeah. But we are Nigerian. I mean, I'm a Nigerian. At least I have a right to that. People are happy when they get something from you. But if you notice, that happiness is short. I mean, it's like it's volatile. And then they go to another person, they go to another person, they go to another person, because it's not satisfying. But when you give, you find out that you are a better person. You find out that you have less grip on money, on physical things. It does something to you. It is to you it does. And if you remember this, what's his name, Michael Jackson song, he said, we are saving our own life, when we give. These things are deep, and everybody, you have to experience it. You have to experience it. So when you say please, some people say, like the arrogant nature, of our culture. What should I say? Please. But the please is for you. The please is suiting you. Although it does something to the other person, right? Because it's a social role and it's a positive word. But you get more from it. So when we say please, just like you said, the driver doesn't even answer. Yeah. But the nation needs it. The environment needs it. The environment needs to be fed with please, with thank you. The land needs it. We are more than the people. The land, the air, all the things around us. It's like, it's like singing praises to God. We need it. It needs to be like, it's like when you are spicing, fish or meat. They have to get inside. So our environment, our homes should be filled, with politeness. Please, thank you. They create an atmosphere, and then we live in that atmosphere. But when we think the please is for the other person, when we think the thank you is for the other person, and since we are undeveloped and civilized, and we're only concerned about ourselves, so we don't give please cheerfully. We hoard our please, we hoard our thank you, and we are really doing a disservice to ourselves. So I should really thank you, because I omitted that I was thinking, do I need to now be telling people that thank you, please, is part of civilization also?
Yeah, it's and I also think part of it is, growing up in that culture, as a child, when I growing up and I don't know if we know Mulwe. Yeah. I've been thrown out of the bus so many times by the conductor. Come down, let the bus stop so that I can get down. The bus is not stopping. Get out the bus and pushes me out. So I've fallen out of the Mulwe several times. A policeman has slapped me once. I was hanging on the bus on the door. That's how we go, because there's no space and I have to get to my. So I was hanging, and while the bus was moving, he jumped and he was hanging, and he told me to go out. I was like, I can't go out, the bus is moving. So he slapped me while we were moving. So while he slapped me, I held his clothes because I was about falling, So they had to
both
tell
of
me,
you
they were shouting on the bus to stop that because I was hanging on his uniform, and immediately the bus stopped. Oh God, the beating was terrible. It was like I ruffled his clothes. I was like, you slapped me. Why would you slap me? So people around were telling me, the policeman, don't talk, just keep quiet, keep quiet. Masoro, that's as in Yoruba. Masoro, so I've been slapped times with that number. I've been thrown out of the bus as a child. So getting to the bus and in Canada and someone is saying thank you, I was like, really? Thank you? So it's just, I believed I was civilized. I grew up in a home where my parents were very cultured. No abusive words. Thank you. But you live in a society that is fighting, sucking the life.
Yeah, it's devoid of that. It's not enough. That's what I said, that our hair, our environment lacks it. Not enough places, not enough thank you, not enough good word. And that affects everybody.
Exactly. If I was to tell, I can imagine telling a conductor in Lagos, thank you. His reaction is to abuse me. Because to him, that's a cost. Why are you thanking me? Thanking me for what? I know this is wrong to say on it. He will just say, he will say, we're as in, get out from the bus. As in, can call you a madman just for saying thank you, because we don't understand the concept. Why are you thanking me? For what? Get out and let me get another. There are passengers that want to enter the bus.
Don't waste my time.
You are wasting my time telling me thank you. You know, so I'm beginning to learn. I believe I also go back to Nigeria. It's just also sometimes I don't. Where do we start from? Where? Because it's overwhelming, but I know just start in your own
It will start from me.
Start from me. Start from my children, my wife, my family, my surrounding. Leave God that sees the big picture to set other things in place. But just start from your environment. Then also, pertaining to what you said the other time, I had always believed that development should be, the Bible says that if you pray in the Spirit, there's a scripture in James about praying in the Spirit and you develop your spirit. So development to me has always been pray 6 hours, praying in tongues, jack Bible, kabash.
Yeah, that's spiritual development.
But because I believed in, heaven and only spiritual, any other development is just to make more money at work. So, but I'm beginning to see now that development is not just your spirit, your mind too needs to be developed. And your mind is not only developed by the Bible. There are things that have been downloaded to people. Absolutely. The inventions of Isaac Newton did not come from the devil, they came from God. The inventions of other great men came from God. Do yourself a service and just learn. Absolutely. Fill your mind so that when you are talking to people, you are giving them substance. You are not just empty.
Yeah.
So.
Processed substance, refined substance.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other comment? Who wanted to?
Because it's not only limited to the Nigerians. When we look at the definition which you shared with us earlier on, I picked up something, and it's the word refuse to be stagnant. So if it is the word refuse to be stagnant, the picture I got was a dustbin or a stagnant water. And anything stagnant will automatically attract diseases. We attract insects. We attract different kinds of things. So developing is not only shouldn't be limited to Africa. I know we have been sharing that of Nigeria. Why? That is the one we know. But we in abroad, by the grace of the Lord, we've been able to see other things. They've been able to, conquer some, and they've moved forward. But still, when you look at them, they also have some limitations. They have some other things which needs to be worked on. Now, like France, if I will use France, je ne sais pas si vous l'avez remarqué, the French doesn't have an equivalent of the word sorry, because we've been talking about please, please, please. What about even stepping on the toes of somebody? And we are often quick. The courteous, the English, we always are quick saying the word sorry. Oh, sorry. If mistakenly you step on somebody's toes while in the bus or while walking on the street. Now, the French that I know, ils vont marcher sur toi. Le mot, c'est souvent le mot pardon. Ce n'est pas équivalent. Ça porte pas vraiment ce qu'il faut. Ça c'est si vraiment des gens veulent le dire. On ne l'entend pas souvent. Mais c'est seulement le mot pardon qu'on nous dit. It is always the word pardon. Pardon doesn't carry the real meaning of sorry. Now, when I came to France, these were the first thing I noticed. And that oftentimes, they will just look back. They will just look at you. And they will be waiting for you to talk. They were the one that wronged you. Not intentionally. But without knowing. But they will be looking at you. That is the French. So it got to a time that I was saying, but don't you say sorry here? Now, c'était après des années que j'ai appris vraiment que c'est là, le mot désolé, elle manque. Ils n'ont pas ce vocable dans leur grammaire. The word sorry doesn't exist in their dictionary. Now, when I started saying, whenever I tell people, look at me, whenever I now tell them, désolé, they find it bizarre, meaning strange. That, okay, I stepped on them mistakenly, and I'm saying désolé. So, in other words, they expect me to do the same thing they were doing, in that I will just be watching. Now, it doesn't stop there. I said I'm encouraging Nigerians to tell you that it's not only limited, because if the title is to be well understood, it is not only Tanzanians, Kenyans, Nigerians that needs to be civilized. It is the whole world. Yeah. Only that some are more better, they have arrived a better position than, and this is often what we Nigerians see here. I mean, we call the JJC, that we see there and we are amazed, and we now look back and say maybe their own is better. No, they also have their weakness. There is also this driving. If you can drive in Nigeria, you can drive in France. You know how dangerous driving in Nigeria is. French are the worst drivers. Les Français sont les plus pires de tous les conducteurs en Europe. Whenever I go to London, the last experience, in fact, the policeman he warned me. He said, man, we know you are in French. The next time, we will tear your driving license. We will tear it. So while driving from afar, he knew that already the side driving shows. But it wasn't only that. It's well known there in Britain that we French, whenever we come down to Britain, we drive recklessly. So in France, you can just drive, and the solution the government has been trying to put in place has never resolved the matter. And the whole problem comes from this area of respecting one another. The pedestrian things are there. Nobody obeys it. So the light is there. And all these things, they all still have to come to develop. I mean, learning the same definition. Because if I honor the pedestrian, if I respect him, if I respect her, I won't just drive like that. So everybody has his own weakness, and we all have something that we need to work on. Now, let me ask a question, ma'am. The question, maybe it will help us more, is that how do we now relate the one we received from our parents? Because our parents, I don't know about you, they did wonderfully. But later we met another world, just like my brother said, another world. But how do we relate it to the one, we have today? Because later on we have to leave home and now go somewhere else. So how do we relate all the teachings concerning this developing, living a civilized life? How do we relate it with the little they gave to us?
Just have it. Okay. I think I would, just give it to anybody. Yeah. Thank you so much for the question, because that's why we're here. That's the topic we are treating now. I think we can relate this if we live by principle. There is something we call public opinion. There's something we call moral courage. So if we live by principle and you live only one life, like what we are taught at home, for those who were taught at home, then you, like my brother was saying, that in Nigeria, if I tell the driver, thank you, it will call me a foolish man. But still do it. That's how we change. You know, when we bring a change to society, people will start laughing at us. But that's just the initial stage. We have to go through that stage. But if we are consistent, then we'll give people the opportunity to start thinking. Because people laughing at us is a test. Because people with low self-esteem, people who are not sure about their calling or about the change they want to make, they will say, oh, I won't do that again because somebody is laughing at me. So, but our calling and our conviction should be stronger than somebody laughing at us. Jesus was also laughed at, but he knew what he was doing. He knew where, he was going. So if we can't get past the ridicule, what kind of leaders are we? And what kind of transformation are we talking about? So we have to make sure that we are the same everywhere. We have to make sure that we are refusing the spirit of the land. And what I mean by the spirit of the land, the negative side. We take the good and we refuse the bad. And we showcase the good. So if we know that it's okay, it is good that our land needs thank you, please, sorry, we say it just as we say it at home. We shouldn't feel embarrassed. There are some people, they will praise the Lord in the church, they will speak boldly in the church, but as soon as they leave the church, they become intimidated in the society. Some of them can still be themselves when evangelizing. Why? Because they have trained themselves for that. They've been taught that it is your responsibility. So they have been programmed for that. But then any other thing, because they have not thought it through, they have not planned it. So if every Christian or every history maker would just be ourselves everywhere we are, then the change will start. Little by little, because people need to know that we are serious, we are sure. So if you do it all the time, then other people will start asking you, why are you saying that? Which is a very great opportunity now to explain to people that I'm sowing a seed in the land. And if you remember Mother Teresa's quote, unfortunately I can't quote it exactly, but it is something like this, that if you are doing good, people will accuse you of having your own ulterior motive, but keep doing good. So maybe somebody can find it on the internet. It's a popular quote of Mother Teresa, but it says, keep doing what you need to do. Keep doing what you know to do, because those are the things that will change. Jesus didn't stop. And then he was able to have a result. If we know that we have a superior kingdom, if we know that we have a superior culture, why should we stop? Why should we be intimidated by what people will say? If something is bad, we say it in a polite way. No? If somebody is littering, we tell the person, it's not good to litter. Can you please pick it? Okay. If the person doesn't speak it, you pick it. You pick it. And that is not in vain. Because other people will see it and it will set them thinking. So you don't need to fight. You just say, oh, excuse me, sir. Could you please, you just litter this place. Kindly pick it. Then the substance will come out. If it's a caution, oh, sorry, oh, thank you. If it's another person, who are you to tell me what to do? Okay, all right. Littering is bad, not only for you, but for everybody. But I understand that you don't understand, so I will pick it for you. And that's a practical example, the servant leadership. And people will remember it. You won't even know the people you've affected. Because we need example. We have too much talk. Too much talk. Everybody knows how to do it. But when it comes to, folding our sleeves and start doing something or showing example, that's where we are lacking. So you pick it. Next time another person later you say, no, this is not good for our environment. Do you mind picking it? The person will say, no, I'm not picking it. Pick it. Then after some time, people will start getting it. That might even give you an idea to start thinking of, okay, maybe I should start an NGO or find an influential NGO and share my burden about littering. Because it's not all the time you have to start your own. You may need to join an influential one to learn how to do it, and to use their influence, their capacity to get things done. I said, this bothers me. Is there anything we can do about it? Is there a fine, a law? And you just share your example. You take the picture. Now you can video. You can ask, can you just video me how I'm going to do this, or my conversation with this man, because we're a movement. After sometimes with your NGO, maybe with some identity, another person will ask you, what right do you have me? We're a movement against this and this. Again, you pick it, but you won't have to pick it forever. After sometimes you will find like-minded people in the bus. If in the bus or in any setting you find yourself, you start people defending you. Say, yeah, this person is right. You will get out of the picture. They will be fighting one another. Then you will be telling, no, that's not my purpose. That's not the aim. This is our country. We have to. Our country consists of how we treat it. Spitting anywhere on the street it also shows our relationship to the land. If the land is, because the kingdom, the gospel of the kingdom does not focus only on the man. It also focuses on everything around the man. The sea, the land, the air, Because littering, it's like, how do I say, abusing your land. Just spitting anywhere or urinating anywhere is abusing your land. And then thorns, and I'm talking like metaphor now, we start coming from there. So the way you treat it matters. And it also shows how developed, how civilized you are. So it's very important. Yes, sir. Yeah, you found it. Yes, you can. No. Take the mic. Can you take the mic? And come here. Yeah. Please. That quote helps us not to. No, not that one. Yeah, not that one. Let's check your one.
People are reasonable and self-centered.
Yeah. Read it for us.
All right.
It's a long one.
Yes. Okay. People are often
Can you
unreasonable.
put the mic closer to
Okay.
you?
People are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motive. Be kind anyway. If you are honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give your best anyway. For you see, in the end, it is between you and God.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you very much. So quotes like that should help us to be persistent, know what we want, showcase what we want. Of course, people will be rude. Change is tough. Nobody likes change. I don't like it. It's not that I understand it now, so it's like I like it, right? But if I relax a little bit, I also don't like it, Yeah. But I know that if I go through it, I will become a better person. I will have a better life. And that's why I embrace it. But under normal condition, nobody likes it. So the person that has been living in one culture, that has been littering for 20, 30 years, and you coming from nowhere and saying we have to keep our country clean. What are you talking about? You know, who are you? More so if you are younger in age. I mean, in an African setting, it's like that's the end of your life. But then you have to be persistent. You have to know why you are doing it. And that's why you are polite, and that's why you will pick it after him. You know, it requires servant leadership. Jesus washing the disciples' feet, you know, to do that. Because a lot of people stop at you have to pick it. And if the person doesn't pick it, they won't pick it. That's a job I've done. But if you pick it, you have a better spiritual impact. The person will notice it. It might still be camouflaging and be saying something, but when he's alone, God will minister to him. And that will be the beginning of the change that God will do. Yes, ma'am.
Coming out of the United States and seeing what's happening there about, you speak about the development and being civilized and being balanced, is that it can't go one way. It has to go together, you know, the receiving and the giving. The matter is that it can cost you debt in America. If you're not polite to someone, you bounce on someone, and you don't even say excuse, it could be a gunshot or somebody stab you. Okay? Rushing off the train, rushing off the bus, somebody can just slit your face. So I just saying about being polite, yes, for real, it happened in America. So unless you're driving your own personal vehicle, you're not in contact with the public, then your life is totally different. But you don't believe in a people of different culture. It's a melting pot for America. People come from Nigeria, whatever, all part of Africa, France, you know, the Caribbean, everywhere. They're there, and they come with the impact of themselves, and they want it to be done the way how they feel. But it doesn't come easy after they make that decision. So from our heart, if we, you know, practice, and if they practice, like for me to go, even somebody rush me, I'm saying I'm sorry, and it's not me. When I heard you say about the stepping on the toe, that I didn't rush them. They say, excuse me. And before you move out of the way, they rush you. So if you are in reaction towards whatever the reaction that they would give to you, you too would commit to, you commit yourself, because, of course, the end result is that choices come with consequences. So being polite is something that we should practice, and it's not about culture, it's about being a human being. Animals, the bull's gonna come out, and they're gonna run, and they're gonna charge you. They're not gonna be asking. The lion come out, the rhinoceros come out, they're animals. But for us who are saying that come into civilization, with the very few that are civilized, and we're talking about transformation, and to maintain that balance, it can develop if we just put all that we are getting here together to go outside and be an example to society. That's my part of that.
Thank you.